Welcome to Feminized. It's time for a show that turns the spotlight on the powerful women shaping cannabis culture. The cannabis industry is on fire and women are sparking it up. If you like the show, please subscribe. You can also subscribe to the Feminized podcast with Liz Grow on YouTube and Instagram. The future is feminized. Hey sis, you're now listening to the Feminized podcast. Francesca Vavala, the co-founder of the Sales Joint. Welcome to Feminized podcast, sister.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Excited to have you. You know, this show is all about the women who are driving the cannabis industry. I'm certainly, as I see it, and meeting you and your team at Oklahoma at CannaCon it was really awesome. You know, it opened my eyes, I think, to even more that's going on in the industry, like other sub-industries of the cannabis industry, like the stuff that you're doing at Sales Joint with cultivators. So I would love to just dive right in, give you the floor, and have you tell me exactly how you are helping the cannabis industry with the Sales Joint and the work that you're doing there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd love to. So what the Sales Joint is basically we are a sales agency, and we are focused on helping especially craft growers, what we call craft growers, which is really any non-major MSO, like independently owned grow operation, move their products into the retail space. And so we do that in a few different ways. One of which is our private sales model, which is we partner with a farm and then we learn everything about them, basically get to know their products, speak their language, and then do remotely sales into dispensaries through mostly phone work. But we'll keep a CRM, we manage all of the customer relationship stuff, and then the farm has somebody that is like the boots on the ground that actually does the delivery and is the face of it when they're doing handoffs and deliveries and any kind of in-person events, vendor days and things like that. So we're really there to put the kind of grunt work of sales in. This is because it's something that we're incredibly good at. We like establishing rapport. We like learning about farms. We like elevating them and putting with one phone call to us, basically you have the business behind your cannabis business. Right. So that's our private sales model, which is super fun, but it's really only for a very certain kind of grower, somebody who is, business growth oriented, that is ready to take their stuff to the next level. A lot of times it's people that are maybe shifting their focus from wholesale to more retail, or maybe it's people that are emerging into the market and they know they need help getting into stores because it's a crowded space. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's a lot of that. So we have to make sure that we're aligned, in every way with our customers, that because it doesn't make sense for us to help you grow if you can't sustain that growth, either through the resourcing or the product, I guess even the product volume, the optimization of efficiencies and all of that stuff. If we can help you have a strong supply chain, we can help you have good growth in sales. That's kind of our model. Plus we need to like you. We need to work together and enjoy working together.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be going out as the kind of the public face, at least in the beginning, to facilitate these relationships. Like if you're not feeling good about the farm or the farmer, the brand, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, it's not authentic. So we're really careful about who we partner with, and we have to make sure that we believe in what they're producing and that we're aligned in multiple ways. So That's the private sales model. And then for everybody, we really have it's beyond consultation. We call it a sales infrastructure. So it's like people look at sales as just the point of transaction, and that's so not true. Sales is everything that touches that transaction, everything leading up to it, everything after it to facilitate the next transaction. So that could be your packaging, that could be your brand, that could be your voice, that could be your social, that could be your CRM management, your scripts, your sales cycle, your SOPs on your sales. All of that is part of your sales infrastructure. Yes. So we really partner with farms and help them either develop their infrastructure, fill in the gaps, strengthen it, it. And we do that by actually doing some of the work. So you could hire us just to do your social, or if you want, like say somebody needs a website or a website revamp, and it's like, great, we don't do websites, but what we do is we know cannabis websites and we know what purchasers need from cannabis websites. So we'll quarterback or project manage and being like, it's not left to just the owner and developer to figure it out. You actually have somebody who's been on through this multiple times and knows exactly what to look for to be quality assurance in that. So it's really about partnering with people either with their existing resources or becoming their resource. It depends on what people need, but we know that having a strong sales infrastructure is going to be essential for the success of any craft cannabis farmer, and everybody needs it when we're talking about not being taken over by corporate weed and not being run out because we're a small independently owned brand. It's like, no, let's outperform, let's connect, let's out relationship manage those guys so that nobody can deliver what you can deliver on a small, when they're doing a commercial farm. It's like, that's great. You have volume of product. You don't have quality of service. You don't have quality of relationship. So we give you the business that makes your business even better and ready for growth. So any top line revenue growth activities, we can partner with you, consult with you. And it's really about accordioning that, making that an accordion to grow and shrink to whatever people need. So
I love that.
That's the long and short of it.
Wow.
And sales joint.
It sounds like you guys work across the country. You don't just work in one specific market like Oklahoma or California. You're everywhere.
Right.
Nice. Where are you guys based?
So we are in Delaware,
wow.
which is
was not expecting that.
Oh. It's true.
I love that. Cool.
Yeah. So we're in Delaware, but we really do fly out all over to meet our clients. We want to see the facilities. We want to make sure we know who we're doing business with, that we know, because there's the language of cannabis, but then there's the language of micro markets that you have to know these local markets. So we make sure that we authentically deliver that. And by getting on a plane or a train or a car or whatever and coming out and seeing our people.
Oh, I love it. And I bet it's just so exciting for you to feel all of the energy around the cannabis industry growth on the East Coast.
It is. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, finally.
I know.
Jeez.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So how did you come to cannabis? What were you doing before you got into focusing cannabis?
So in my previous life, I actually wanted to be a high school English teacher. And so that's what I was for about 6 years. And that's when I realized I had way more of an entrepreneurial spirit than I thought I did. A lot of reasons I was like, I don't think teaching is it. And so I had to whenever I make a decision to change, like if I'm changing something, I have to change it like right then. And I was like, okay, not teaching, then what? And, I liked arguing, but I didn't want to go to school to be a lawyer. I liked pets, but I didn't want to be a vet. And I was like, I like houses. I like HGTV. And so I started doing real estate, I picked it because I thought I liked part of it. And I ended up loving it. Like I loved working for myself, building a client book, making sales through education, really taking care and having like a fiduciary responsibility to clients and making sure that I was advocating for them for things to work in their best interests. And so I really learned my sales and a lot of, solopreneurship skills through that. And then unfortunately, I had a personal tragedy in my life that kind of shifted things for me. And I wanted, instead of all this freedom to make my own schedule, I found myself needing more structure. Yeah. And I was like, I need to be a little more accountable. I need somebody to demand something of me. And so, so I ended up going and doing some part-time marketing writing for this guy, Mike. I met him through a friend, like his employee was my friend, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we could use some writing." I was like, "I can write. I was an English teacher. I know how to write."
Yeah, we're
And
good.
that's fine. And ended up writing for his company, and he was in sales and for like a highly regulated product, and came to me after a few years when I really liked working with him. I really liked working with his company. We were just very different people that were very philosophically and even entrepreneurially aligned, and we saw that really quickly. And so I ended up retiring from real estate and saying I actually like this better.
Wow.
When Mike came to me and said, "Hey, listen, we do sales for these people who are really good at making things but aren't good at selling them." And he was like, "On this level, I think the cannabis industry is going to be like that. I think there are farmers that are really good at growing things but aren't really interested in selling things or don't have the skill set. And what do you
Totally.
think?" And I was like, "Well, let me look into it." And so I did, because I was a late bloomer. I mean, I was in my 20s when I smoked for the first time because I was so scared of pot.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean,
just
you're
always
brainwashed just like the
thought.
rest of us were.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, oh God, it's gonna make me detach from reality. I'm gonna get locked up and
Yes.
just never be the same again. Yeah,
Yeah,
that kind of.
exactly. Exactly. So,
So how did
so
you?
yeah, I just was like, okay, let me check it out. And when I started researching and I saw like everything I learned was a lie and that it was
Oof,
actually this incredibly beneficial plant. And really what had happened was
smoke to that.
I was born a conjoined twin. And so yeah, it's
Wow,
it's a very rare thing. But my sister
incredible.
Emily and I, yeah, we were born stuck together. We were
Where?
from our sternum to our abdomen. So like facing front and connected at our chest and abdomen. Yeah.
Oh my God, I have
So
chills. You were born with your sister. You were.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, keep going.
We shared the liver. Unfortunately, that was the only major organ that we shared, which is regenerative when you're a baby. And so they could give us each some liver and send us on our way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a miracle. An
Yes.
amazing thing. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty incredible. Unfortunately, they didn't realize my mom, they knew we were having, when they knew my mom was having twins, they didn't know that we were connected. So they started to deliver us normally. And that's when they realized in the middle of the birth, that we were connected. And so Emily had oxygen cut off from her because they had to push us back in, do an emergency C-section. And that's when Emily lost oxygen to her brain, and she was born with a very severe form of cerebral palsy. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Cerebral palsy isn't degenerative, it's not progressive, it doesn't get better or worse, it just is.
Right.
And
Yep.
so my twin sister had cerebral palsy, and that was just life. But when we were 31 in 2013, she caught a superbug of pneumonia. And unfortunately, that's when I lost her. And when I read about the antispasmodic properties of cannabis and CBD and THC, and I realized that my sister had spent her whole life on these really strong drugs with really bad side effects sometimes. And this whole time, she could have been having this plant maybe help her, at least improve her quality of life, if
Yeah.
not elongate it. Then I got really mad about being misinformed and lied to. And that's really what flipped the switch for me of like, okay. And so I went back to Mike and I said, if we're going to do this, I want to do this right. And he was like, well, what does that mean? And I said, this isn't a cash grab. This isn't an industry where you can just take money from it. And I was like, everybody that's here really is here because of something personal, like I'm having an experience with. We need to be political. It's not like every other
Yes.
business. We need to be political. We need to be in the face about it. We need to be really fighting a fight while we're building this industry, and caring about social justice and equity and things that are very clearly right and wrong that most traditional businesses just try to stay away from
Hmm.
because don't want to rock the boat. And I'm like, this is the boat that gets rocking.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna flip this
And
bitch over a couple times
yeah,
until we get
exactly.
it right. Okay.
and um and I was like, so I'll do it if you'll do it the right way. And he was like, Absolutely. That's why I want you on. And that's how we
Oh,
started. And so, yeah, we launched our first cannabis business and, been riding this roller coaster for 6 years and loving the
wow.
ride.
6 years. That's huge. That's like 20 years in
I
cannabis.
know,
Like,
right?
oh my God. And from Delaware. Wait,
Yes.
this is
What's Delaware's issue?
no, I'm just
Money.
saying, like, that's just nuts to me. Like, it's just really, really cool. Like, I'm always amazed when I hear these stories. Like, even when I think I know where the conversation's going, you don't know where it's going when
No.
it's cannabis involved, when the plant, like, starts to help you make decisions, you know? But yeah, so
Yes.
Delaware, you're from Delaware originally?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep, I
cool.
was we were born in we were technically born in Salisbury, but Dagsboro, is known as slower lower Delaware. Anything south of the canal is slower lower.
Oh, got
And
it, got
so
it.
it's like more rural, it's a totally different life and it's the beach
Oh, love
and
that.
so it's like two different cultures down there. And then northern Delaware is more city oriented and it's a tiny state with a big personality. It's very close. Everybody knows everybody. But it's a good state to be a part of in a lot of ways. Unfortunately,
Yes,
our
yes.
governor just vetoed the approval for recreational
Oh,
weed,
wow.
and so he's on the wrong end of that, unfortunately. But
But you have a
it's
medical
the same.
program.
We do, yes,
Great. Yeah. And is
yeah.
flower allowed in the state of Delaware? Oh,
Yes,
wow.
absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
So we're lucky. And the good thing about the East Coast as more states go rec is that, you can just drive into South Jersey and go to a dispensary there. So
Exactly. That's kind of what's going to be my point. It's like not like Texas where you're like, okay, to get out of this state, I need to dedicate about 8 or 9 hours. Okay.
yeah.
Just to get out of the state, to Colorado or, New
Yeah.
Mexico from where we are in central Texas. So I'm always like envious of those East Coast, Northeast Coast
Yeah.
states that
Yeah.
are like just go to the different state and do their thing. It's like very
All the
foreign.
time. Although
Very
we do joke that Delaware's like big claim to fame is that you can get out of it really easily.
yeah. Nice, nice. And all of I mean, so many companies. I'm sure I have two companies incorporated in Delaware. Or
Mhm.
I incorporated two companies in Delaware. Not that they exist anymore, but
Yeah.
oh, fun.
It's like home to a lot of like Fortune 100 companies and stuff
Uh,
because of like, I don't know, business tax things that I don't care about too much.
Yeah, yeah, the tech community loves Delaware because of business tax
Yes.
things. So cool. So what would you say the biggest challenge is that you face on a day-to-day basis trying to facilitate these relationships between cultivators and retailers?
I think the biggest challenge that we face is really beating the stigma of sales in cannabis. That's our big fight. Everybody in the industry is fighting the stigma of cannabis, which, yes, absolutely. And there's this stigma around sales in cannabis that sales is for the corporate suit, it's for the man, it's the zero sum, win at all costs kind of game. And so everyone who's trying to make a sale is trying to get something from you. And I couldn't have more of an opposite concept of or perception of what sales is. To me,
Yes.
sales is our tagline, which is no one grows alone. That's sales. I don't I I don't think that people understand when we embark on a sales relationship with our customers, we become both dependents and caretakers. We depend on the success of our customers, so we take care to make sure that success happens.
Yes.
And I think if we look at sales that way as this collective thing we're all trying to do because the sales becomes a patient care issue that way, because
Right.
sales elevates the industry that way, because we all grow together when no one grows alone. That's how we can do sales. So under the umbrella of that stigma is a lot of simple things like, getting growers to trust you and to understand that this is an investment in their time or their money or their resources or whatever, that they can have a trustworthy, quote unquote partner
Right.
in this sales relationship, and not somebody who's going to take advantage of them and screw them over. And I understand the trepidation. It's, when people get burned, and we've been burned plenty of times,
Sure.
it's
In six
hard.
years, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You don't get out of here with no scars.
No,
So,
you don't. But the point is to be able to tell stories about your scars. Like, isn't that why we all do what we do? So that we can fucking live to tell the tale and fight another day. And
yes.
I think people, unfortunately, just in general, we give up a little bit too easily. But,
Hmm.
those in the cannabis industry seem to really have some true grit about them, perseverance. They're not going to stop using the plant for personal reasons, and they're not going to stop believing in the plant just because maybe their business plan failed, or they didn't make any sales, or their product blew up in their face, or their partner screwed them over. So many
Yes.
stories. It's like cannabis is still in our lives, so we have to find a way to move on, right?
Yeah.
And live with that. But I have to say, I'm really, really impressed and I don't know. I don't even know if proud is the right word, but proud that you guys use the word sales in your company name. Okay, because of
Oh.
course it's marketing 101. It's what you do, make it easy for people to understand what you do. But you mentioned that sales can be a four-letter word, and it's
Hmm.
just anywhere. I used to be in sales. In my past life, I was in tech sales, and it was great, and I had very much the same, I think, mindset as you do. It's about win-win-win. My
Yes.
job is to facilitate a solution for you so that you can shine and be your best, right? That's it. That's sales in a nutshell. But so many people are like, ooh,
Yeah.
I could never do that, and you just put it right out there. We're the sales joint, which is a great
Yeah.
name,
Thank
and
you.
no one grows alone. It's like, great, cool. I need to dive into that. But why do you think though that sales is a four-letter word in cannabis
I think
specifically?
I think part of it is it's a cultural norm to associate sales with that used car salesman stereotype,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
they're just shady and greasy and gross, or they think of the Wolf of Wall Street type. They're the stock market
Sell me
broker.
this pen.
Yeah. Oh, it's key closing.
Glengarry Glen Ross shit. I like that
Yeah.
shit. That is my
Yeah.
shit. Like, I'll get me in a boiler room, baby.
Yeah.
It's too much. That's why I need cannabis
I
to bring me
love
down. But yeah, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
or even like
definitely.
the Willie. I think a lot of times people just go, well, sales is so distasteful that I'm just going to leave it to anybody who's willing to do it for a percentage of whatever I can give them. It's like it's on them. If they sell, great. If not, it's like this is your business, man. This is everything. This is top line revenue stuff that you need to stay alive. So I think it's a lot of that, and also just seeing sales as, you know, there's a lot of paranoia that comes from the illegal market into the legal market, and rightfully
Yes,
so.
yes.
That's not a judgment or criticism. It is there, and I think most of that lands at the feet of the sales cycle. And
Yeah.
so it's like there's just so much inherent distrust that we need to work almost twice as hard to even trust that sales is something that's for us, not against us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear you on that 100%. It's the mindset, because at the end of the day, what do
Mhm.
we talk about? What's the first question we ask, or the first detail that we share when we're talking about business? How many people want it? How many people
Yeah.
care? And I can give you a number that shows you how many people have cared in the past. And this is how many
Yes.
people I want to care in the future, and it's,
Yeah.
it's just putting that together, man. Just putting that together.
Exactly.
So tell me about some of the farms that you're really excited to be working with now.
So our newest client I'm super excited about is in Oklahoma, Aloha Farms. They are awesome. Awesome. They've got an incredible master grower, an incredible owner. They are really sticking to quality of product as their main focus, meeting the market where it is in terms of price points for that quality flower, and then trusting the process by having a long-term growth plan. It's like, oh my gosh, you can't ask for anything more from a client. They're fantastic.
I love that. I love that. Now, why does
Yeah.
it seem like they have a little bit more business acumen? Why? How are they? Why do they have that long term plan? How do they have that long term plan? Because not a lot of people in this industry do.
No, they
Yeah.
don't. I think the first thing to recognize is the privilege that exists in being able to have long-term plans, and that's privilege in access to capital,
Yes.
because we all need something to keep us afloat, because there are always going to be low sales months and bottom markets, and we've got to have something to get us through those rainy days, and
Yeah.
some tool to predict when those rainy days are. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of privilege in that, the owner has access to that either through himself or through his investors or through his friends and network.
Hmm.
There's a lot of ways to get to that capital for that, for those reserves,
Hmm.
but not everybody has the privilege to have even known that that's what you need, or how
Right.
to estimate how long to last.
Hmm.
So part of it is that, part of it is this isn't the first business he's run. So
Got
it's
it.
it's
So he's had
experience.
success. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
experience. And it's
Yeah.
not, is this the first cannabis business he's run?
This is
Or,
his first cannabis business. Yes.
okay. Okay.
But it's not the growers first, and it's not he's only one owner. It's not every owner's first cannabis business. And so I'm really impressed that he's surrounding himself. I think this is really the crux of it, is he has the humility to surround himself with the people who are strong where he might not have that expertise.
Hmm.
And he's strong enough to know where his expertise is going to move the company along further.
Hmm.
And so there's not what I think is most people's Achilles heel of having this need to hold on to everything, because you need the control and you need to know that you're the one doing it so that it's done right. And
Right.
if you're doing that for everything, there's no way everything gets done or
No.
gets done the right way or in the right order at the same time. And so it's just it's a recipe to sink your own battleship. And he just figured out how to get the right people around him to keep him going. And he's great about it. He's supportive of them. It's, what do you need from me? It's what he gives us. And we tell him, and he delivers. And that alone is a differentiator.
Yes, God dang. I mean, it definitely sounds like it, that's a really, all of those characteristics definitely make for a successful business owner, period. And then being able to apply those to the cannabis industry is, that's a great thing. It's a great thing to see the market mature like it has
Yes.
been, especially, of course, we have our eyes on Oklahoma because we're Texas and we're kind of obsessed. There's like this love-hate thing, which is crazy. I love Oklahoma so much, and Oklahomans. I'll go on the record and say. But it's fascinating to see how that market has grown and matured so quickly and is doing so well. I think we're planning a trip there here in the next couple
Ooh,
weeks. So you'll have to get me the deets on Aloha
excellent.
Farm. Maybe we can stop by and say
Yes.
hello.
Oh my
Say
gosh, that would be
aloha.
amazing. Say aloha.
Yeah, smoke some
Yes.
product. Because
They
got to try the product.
absolutely. Yeah, they've got some good stuff. They have the mimosa strain that's
Oh,
delicious. Delicious.
love mimosa. I haven't had mimosa in a minute. So yeah, Oklahoma mimosa would be interesting. Mine was California, but it's a really fun strain.
The bougie mimosa.
Yeah. The Zaza, that's Zaza, if you will. So tell me about your personal relationship with cannabis, Francesca. How does it help you just be your best?
Oh my gosh, in so many ways. As I mentioned, I was a late bloomer. And so when I started, I didn't know what I was doing, and I felt too old to ask.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, now that I'm in this, is a ridiculous thing. So I'll just put that out there. If you
Yeah.
are a newbie to this, oh my gosh, we welcome that. And we want
Please.
to share all of the things we've learned with new people. So
Yes.
never do what I did and be afraid to ask anybody anything.
Right. You're a
So
teacher. You should know that,
yeah,
right?
I know. It's like
But
somebody else in the class has that question and isn't raising their hand. I should know that.
exactly. So it took you
Yeah.
a minute to get into it. And so what about now though? Now it's obviously your life.
Now it's a huge part of my life. I really enjoy it in terms of, it is my unwind. I don't drink alcohol, just it doesn't do anything for me that I love enough to suffer through the next morning. So
Yeah.
I
Got it. Yeah, take care of your
yeah.
body.
Exactly. And so I'm like, this just isn't my escape of choice. And when I can smoke cannabis, and in fact, not to get too emotional or personal about this, but even
Please.
the news that came out yesterday about the shooting in Texas, that elementary school, I in this rage and helplessness and spiral of depression about the state of the world that is so out of our control. It's such a slippery slope, and we've been on the edge as a country for years now with COVID and all the things that have been going on for the past few years in particular. So it's such a we're all too close to the edge, I feel like. And what cannabis does for me is I can say, this is what I need tonight, and I can meet her. And last night it was, I need to get high enough to escape from this kind of immediate, deep feeling horror that is going to drown me. And so it really, truly was a lift of my spirit out of something that it was hovering over very dangerously, you know?
Yeah.
And it was really what it was intended to do. It was a medicine, and maybe some people see it as getting high. It's like, it's more like getting saved in a night like last night.
Amen. Amen. And the people who say getting high, it's like they're always talking about Jesus. It's like, where is Jesus? We got to get high. Like, we have to embrace that term. Like, we need to get higher than this because you feel so low, you know, in times, especially of tragedy and so much pain and suffering. It's like, yes, we need to rise above. And this plant gets you there. Yeah. You're like, what? So,
and it helps you like go inward and outward. It can bring you, it can settle you down. It can lift you up. It meets you wherever. Maybe I should stick with the eyes. It meets me wherever I am and brings me to a consciousness that better serves me. Yes. So that can be as minor as right before taking the stage, before speaking publicly, that I'm, you know, just taking a couple puffs, letting that edible hit and knowing that I can do so with confidence because that social anxiety is gone or that performance anxiety is gone. Something as simple as that, or, you know, hitting the vape a few times while my friends do shots and I can meet you guys at the silly factor where we all are, to escaping national tragedies because I can't do anything else about it tonight. Yeah. And, you know, we're going to save the mourning and the anger for another day. Right. Today is to get away, you know? And so it's just done so much. And yet there's so much more I want to do with it. I want to, my goal in the next, rest of 22 and all of 2023 is to bring it to more disability communities and really try and focus some activism there, because in all the conversations that we talk about it being a medicine, as usual, disability communities are so underserved and underrepresented. And so I want that to be much more a focus of mine, because that would make me feel closer to Emily, which is what, you know, kind of brought me to the plant, and feel even better about the reach that it can have and the lives that it can change.
Yes. Oh, incredible, beautiful, and count on my support, our support. Thank for you. all of those projects, and just whatever direction you go in, we support you.
Thank you,
Francesca. Now, I failed to mention you are a speaker. You do speak at conferences and share your knowledge. So talk to me a little bit more about maybe specifically what you like to speak about. Obviously sales, but, you know, I'll let you tell me, and then, you know, how people can book you, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working, I have a No One Grows Alone, How Sales Can Save Craft Cannabis basic speech that has hopefully equal parts actionable takeaways for people that actually know what they need to do or need a list of things to do, and also as a visionary piece for the leaders of an organization that says we need something to embrace wholly to change these tactical things. Mm-hmm. So the No One Grows Alone mindset is the visionary piece, and then all of the activities around sales are the tactical pieces. And I want to, and then the call to greatness really is for the whole industry about let's all be professional. This takes a commitment from dispensaries. This takes a commitment from growers. This takes a commitment from consumers. It takes a commitment from advocacy people and legislators and everyone. But we can all do our part. And
Yes.
if we are, it's going to do nothing but make us all better. So
Yes.
we are going to be smarter patients and better consumers, which is going to advance plant science, and it's going to improve the kind of marketing. So it's not about having a sexy chick on a flyer. It's about
Right.
what the benefits of this are. And if that's empowering female sexuality, awesome. That's what we're going to put on there, And if it's about stopping the shakes from Parkinson's, that's what we're going to put on there. So it's really, it can drive education and everything, but it really is speaking on that sales infrastructure that I talked about that we help people with.
Yes.
And then what I plan to do in the rest of this year in 2023 is to really take the lessons learned in cannabis and bring that to traditional industries. So, marketing conferences, sales conferences, that with these businesses that are in a lot of different areas, they could all benefit from what cannabis does well, because cannabis does a lot very well. And the biggest thing they do is they connect with their why, which gets them to their consumers and their patients on such a personal level. We have such strong community, such strong connection that no other industry could touch that. And yet they could benefit from it. They could probably learn a thing or two from it and help their customers and their sales. And it's a win-win-win.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Not only are we, working to, I don't want to say infiltrate, we'll say myceliate, just get cannabis in the hands of everyone on this planet. Not only consuming it, but growing it, using it in your daily life, surrounding yourselves with it. But I love that you are taking this like sales mindset, applying, success and learnings from the cannabis industry, this industry that arguably has the most loyal customer base on the planet. And that's how you're bringing cannabis in to some people. You're so smart. You're so smart. Oh my God.
Thank you.
All these like stuffy boardrooms.
Yeah.
I could learn a thing or two. Like they would never think about, taking a puff, but goddamn, they want to learn.
Right.
They want to learn. What is cannabis doing? Let me see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah,
and there you
exactly.
Go.
You're going to tell me you don't want to learn from the fastest growing industry in the world today?
In the world today, in history.
Oh, you're
yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. Okay.
And you can always book me on my website, francescaspeaks.com. So I would just fill out a form, and I love to come speak to companies, to conferences, to anything you got that is interested in, in that mission. Oh, love it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, you definitely shine on stage. That's for sure. So I can vouch.
Thank you.
So my darling, before I let you get on with your day, I have to ask you 3 questions. Okay.
Go for it.
Same 3 questions I ask all of my phenomenal female just powerhouses. First question is, who is in your dream smoke circle? They can be with us here on earth. They can be with us in heaven. Anyone you want, but you can only pick 3 people. Who are they going to be?
Okay. My dream smoke circle would definitely be my twin sister, Emily. I want to see her get high. I really wish we could have gotten that for her, because I think she'd love it. That's definitely number 1. I would say number 2 is also in heaven. That would be Prince. Oh. I can't even imagine being around that kind of artistic genius.
Oh.
And the plant. Yes. And number 3, for fun, I think I would have to do probably, this is a tough one. I think I'd have to do Dan Levy, David Rose from Schitt's Creek.
Whoa!
We need to lighten it up a little bit.
That would be so much fun. Oh my God, this smoke circle is epic. It's truly epic. Prince is right up there with Jesus on like my favorite answers. Okay, it's just I have nothing to say about it. If you don't know, then you really need to just press play. You're really missing out. This man was a genius. But David Levy, oh my God, so cute. I know he's like one-liners, just this like dry side. Perfect. I love it. Well, every time, I can't imagine that being a conjoined twin doesn't just make you feel that you are her and she is you. And that will always be, you know, like it's just,
it's that. It's so funny because I live in duality is kind of how I think of it. I'm one person, I'm two people, I'm half a person. It's like all of this is true at the same time, and she's with me and she's not. And so whenever I come up with that, I get to tell myself I get to choose to believe, and so I can choose to believe she's with me because it's as true as she's not with me. So she is.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Well, she'll definitely be in on that smoke circle, and so will I, because I'm crashing this fantasy.
I was gonna say you're just an assumed always invite guest.
Yes, right? I mean I'm
good.
So I'm just notorious for inviting myself to things, and so smoke circles
always open.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so the second question is, what other woman is inspiring you right now in the cannabis industry?
I think the woman that's most inspiring to me right now is AC Moon, who is an OG grower from, I met her out in Vegas at a small cannabis show for women, and she was just the realest of the real. She's been through the roughest of times. She's had to make her way herself, teach herself everything, and she's just brilliant, creative, driven, giving, funny, and knows so much about this plant, and is just a blast to be with. And I see her working her tail off in all the right ways, and all I want is great things to come to her. So she's just incredible. I love her.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to talk to her.
Oh,
I
definitely
want to talk to her. Okay, so last question is this: what advice do you have for 13-year-old Francesca?
Other than please stop just listening to musical theater, and for the love of God, listen to rock.
I love it.
I would tell her to make sure that she's always thinking for herself and not believing everything that is repeated. Just because she hears a lot doesn't mean it's true. In terms of cannabis, I think that's true. But in all of the things that shape our beliefs, we've got to stay vigilant and make sure that we are understanding where they come from, challenging the foundations that they are based on, to adjust and change, and to know that changing beliefs is a sign of learning, not a sign of weakness. Right. So as long as we can stay open and have loving hearts, then we can open our minds and do the greatest good for ourselves and our world. So I would tell little 13-year-old Francesca, please turn on some Springsteen, for the love of God, turn off Rent, and also
I love it. Oh man.
Think for yourself. Make sure you're always thinking for yourself.
Great advice. Great advice for 13-year-old Francesca. Great advice for 42-year-old Liz. For all of, the women listening, and men for that matter. Man, we certainly are thrown a lot of information. Information is coming at us constantly, and we got to stay critical. We can't just blindly, believe. I mean, sometimes it can be exhausting questioning, but we've got to, to follow our path. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So how can people find you other than francescaspeaks.com to book you as a speaker? How else can people find you?
You can find us on our podcast, our talk show, which is a podcast and YouTube channel, which is Infused, a cannabis talk show. Yes. It's great. It's me and my husband, Nick. Oh, we love talking to you.
Oh my gosh. It was really awesome. Just to pause really quickly and just thank you again for having me on. It was so much fun. It was like, oh my God, cool. Whoa, I'm on the podcast. I'm being interviewed. Whoa. So it was just really neat. So thank you. And you guys have an amazing setup, an amazing team. And it's just like, great.
Thank you. Big fan. That means a lot. That means a lot from you. We are huge fans of you.
Oh, thanks.
But you can follow me on Instagram. It's Francesca_Cann, CANN, and another underscore. So you follow me on Instagram, DM me. And follow me everywhere on LinkedIn too, Francesca Vavala on LinkedIn. So yeah, I'd love to connect with people.
Good. I mean, it's very clear that you do love to connect with people and that you have a lot of wisdom to offer, because it all comes down to sales. Down to sales. So that's something that I think that anybody listening, just feel free to reach out to Francesca when you're feeling stressed, because you are that resident expert in top line revenues, in how to bring the money in, right? Which is what keeps us all up at night at the end of the day anyway.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
totally. We're not running charities. I mean, it would be a lot easier if we were, but we're running businesses. Let's make it a really good business for you so that you can do more good out there for yourself and for the people you love.
Absolutely.
That's the good stuff.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, and don't be a stranger here either, please. Gotta have you
Not at all.
Because I just love your energy, and can't wait to see you out in the wild again.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'll shoot you a text or something if we're going to Oklahoma. Maybe we can meet up.
Oh, that would be perfect. Or Texas, we've got some events coming up in Texas. So I'll have to share with you.
Definitely.
Yeah, I got to talk to those hemp farmers.
God.
Sales.
Happy to help.
Right. Thanks again, Francesca.
Thank you so much, Liz. Take care.
You too. If you'd like more, subscribe to the Feminized podcast on YouTube. Follow at Feminized with Liz Grow on Instagram. Special thanks to our sponsors, Moose Labs and Richard's Rainwater. The Feminized podcast is a Grow House Media production, created by Liz Grow, produced by Patrick Pope and Dan Sram, with original theme music and audio mixing by Q at Q to King Productions in New Braunfels, Texas.